Well, I'm feeling a little awkward here because I'm not used to sitting on this set, Moira. But
we're on the love seat, Jim.
Well, okay.
We'll get over it.
Yeah. we work together. That's it.
Let me.
First of all, I want to thank you and George for allowing me in. But I will not be a shrinking violet. We've got lots of time with these guests, and I intend to ask some good questions.
Okay. Well,
not
let
that
me
you
start.
don't ask good questions.
Thank you.
Yes, but together, hopefully, we'll cover the bases.
All right. The Ministry of Education and Science in the formerly communist Russia and Ukraine has adopted biblical Christianity as the basis for values education in the school systems. We are talking kindergarten through university. The International Kindness Foundation is Russian-based and has been given the responsibility of developing and promoting biblical education for 45 million students. The directors and founders have quite a story to tell. We are so excited to have Dr. Olga and Fred Lutsenko with us for every minute we can squeeze out of the rest of this hour. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for us to be with you.
Now, you make your home in British Columbia now.
Yes.
But tell us what your personal backgrounds are, where you came from originally. Fred.
I was born and raised in China, Red China. I was 16 when my parents decided to leave China and immigrate to the West.
Your parents, why were they in China?
My parents fled Stalin's persecution from Soviet Union. They basically fled for their life, illegally crossed the border into China and lived there for 33 years.
So they learned the language, you learned the language?
Not Chinese. I've learned the language Kazakh and Uyghur. We spoke fluently.
Yes. Now the Uyghurs are in the news lately.
Yes, they have
so
been.
You can relate to that.
Yes.
And just a little P.S., I'm going to sneak it in right here. A wonderful grandma with a Bible hidden in the wood.
Yes, that's Olga's grandma.
That was Olga's.
Mine.
Olga, I got the stories mixed up because they're both very dramatic. Olga, where were you raised?
I was born and raised in Soviet Union, actually. I was born in Central Asia, Tashkent. Now it's Uzbekistan. Then my father was just physicist, and when I turned 8, we moved to another Soviet Republic, Latvia, on the Baltic Sea. And then when I graduated school, I went to Moscow for university. I just stayed in Moscow till 95.
And you came to Canada in 95, why?
Well, I came to Canada because I was invited for Christmas holidays by one of the Christian churches in Vernon.
Vernon, BC.
Vernon, BC.
But is it not true that your political superior was assassinated and your own life threatened right around that time?
Well, it was.
Well,
It was.
wow.
It's a long story.
We can't tell it all. But this is the climate.
It was a climate at that time, and there was a lot of opposition for the Christian values. And it was election time, re-election time in Russia, the end of December of 95. And it was a difficult period of time for many, many people in Russia.
Can you appreciate our awe? I mean, when did Russia decide to embrace morality and give you this opportunity that you must explain to us?
Well, I personally was introduced to the Bible by my grandma, like I mentioned, when I was 5 years old girl. And during this period of time, Soviet time, it was forbidden to be a Christian. So she personally kept her Bible in the woodshed. And one day, it was Sunday, she invited me to the darkness of this woodshed and said, "Olga, why don't you all sit down on the bench?" And she put on the candle, closed the door, and put this Bible from the secret place and started reading me Bible. And then she explained Bible story in a simple language which was understandable to me. And since this time on, every Sunday morning we will come together to this wood storage, and she would read me Bible and explain and share with me and will tell me what God would like me to do, not to. That's how I was introduced to the Bible in my childhood.
Okay, and that would be important later, much later.
Of course, like Proverbs 22:6 says, train a child in the way he should go, and then he will grow up, he will never turn from it. That's what's happened with me. It was dangerous to introduce child to the Bible and even telling that you have Bible on that period of time. But my grandma knows that if she will put seeds in my heart, these seeds will grow through my life. That's what actually happened.
So when did the government come to you, and why you?
Well, I just went through all the Soviet system and graduate university, did my doctorate degree, and was serving for Academy of Pedagogical Science. Was involved during Soviet time to develop special materials for the family education, social education. And when the perestroika became and Soviet Union became to be 50 independent countries, the communists fall down, the communist morality fall down. I was invited as a new person to the new Minister of Education for the Russian Federation, and I was responsible for the moral education. And government of Russia would like to fill the
vacuum,
the
moral
vacuum, which happened after the communist morality fall down. There was no foundation.
So you had young people getting into drugs, violence, and immorality.
It was terrible. It was terrible. And how you can educate child without the moral foundation? You should have foundation.
Well, I find it fascinating that the Soviet or the Russian government even had an awareness, let alone a concern about moral education.
Young people.
I mean, you don't hear this in the West. You know, we don't have any cabinet minister responsible for moral education. Was this a new concern, or had there been a Department of Moral Education even during the communist period?
Oh, for sure, there was a Department of Moral Education during the Soviet period of time.
There was,
and there was communist morality, and it was well developed department, and children was educated from kindergarten to university.
Based on what?
Based on communist morality.
Communist morality.
Which was atheistic.
It was absolutely 100% atheistic.
So when you came into this position, did the Bible play any role in your thinking and in the moral philosophy, if you will, that you brought to bear as an educator?
Well, we did research, and together with many educators, and we decided that historically and culturally Russia belonged to European civilization, and European civilization based on the Bible, morality on the Bible, and actually literacy came to Russia through the Bible. You know probably
right.
The two Greek monks came to the old Slavic tribes and tried to translate Bible into Slavic language, develop alphabet based on the Greek alphabet, specially to translate Bible to the old Slavic language. That's how literacy came to Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and everybody in those countries know about that. It's how culture and the literacy and literature,
was all rooted in the Bible.
All the culture, all the history of those countries based on the Bible.
Now, Olga, in your intense research in preparation for this challenge, what happened to you?
Well, during these preparations, I received my own Bible, and that was this book changed my life. I started to read it, and finally I received Jesus Christ in my heart, and it totally changed my personality. I just became to be a different person. I became to be a happy person, and that's what this powerful book doing every day.
Don't suppose your grandma was still living?
Well,
did she know?
She knew about that. Yeah, she was so happy. She actually with the Lord right now, and she passed away when she was 93, and she rejoicing that the seeds she put in my heart
those
really
seeds bore fruit.